You know, I'm from Canada, actually, and the only other person I've ever met who's done blackface is Justin Trudeau.
So this is just around my eyes.
Luigi says, de-institutionalize violence, hands off the people, free Luigi, and all political prisoners, free me. But, I mean, he shot a guy. How is that a political prisoner? I wonder if she's ever thought of that before. Donald Trump.
You're a fucking journalist. You should have all the goddamn facts. What sources? What media?
Here we go.
What websites? What blogs? Do you have documentation? Do you have literature?
I'm hopeful that maybe they would have Abraham Accords round 2 with Lebanon, and then maybe Lebanon could be part of a broader regional peace. Do you think that's possible?
I'm not informed enough to speak on that.
Ezra Levant here for Rebel News. I am in the heart of Washington, D.C. Right now, the inauguration is going on indoors because it's quite cold out. Not so cold for a Canadian, but very cold for Washingtonians, I guess. One of the things that the inauguration became famous for in 2017 for Trump's first win were the massive street riots by the hardcore left. And I was wondering, would that happen again? When we arrived in town yesterday, we saw a lot of police and also National Guard, actual military, including military Humvees. We heard there would be a counter protest at this park. This was the big anti-Trump event. And there are some Antifa members here, a lot of pro-Hamas activists. But honestly, I think maybe there's 250 people, 300 tops in all of America with all the Soros budgets. Remember, they used to fly in the people with the pussy hats, and they had the women's marches, and they had all these marches and street violence. And here we are in 2025, and it's more a whimper than a bang. There's disparate groups. I talked to some people who literally have no idea what the sign they're holding means and told me to talk to someone else. I tried to engage in some conversation with some of them, but when I asked some prickly questions, even in a friendly way, they clam up pretty quick. Some folks got a little bit mad at me and ordered me to leave, but that's just not my style, and I don't think it's the American way either. I don't know, I'm actually quite encouraged by this, because if this is the state of the anti-Trump left, if this is all they've got, I think Trump's got a bright future for his term. There's some signs socialism beats fascism. I think they're both authoritarian. And there's some folks carrying Palestinian flags. I talked to one or two. They really don't know anything about what's going on. They're just holding the flag because it's fashionable. There was a guy with a guillotine, and he looked rather terrifying. He was masked from head to toe. When I went up to him, either he lost his nerve or he just revealed his true nature, a very gentle, soft-spoken man who ended by saying, "Bless you." I'll show you all of these conversations in a moment. But I'll tell you one thing, this is not Washington, D.C. 2017. It's not Washington, D.C. 2020 with the massive race riots. This is an America where the far left have either run out of money, been tamed, or been read the riot act by various police. And I don't think that Trump 47 is messing around. I think what you're going to see starting today is a crackdown on the lawlessness that has plagued this country for years. And frankly, this peaceful, if foolish protest is a good sign. No riots in Washington, D.C. today. Here, check out how it's been. Don't talk to me. Why? Why is everybody being so mean? Hey, CBC, how you doing? Hey. I'm Ezra Levant.
What does that mean?
Don't be so rude. Holy smokes.
You're supposed to know who you are?
Well, you asked me who I was.
I said, who do you work for?
We're Rebel News.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? That's the name of the company. Why are you guys so prickly? Why are you so prickly? Isn't today an exciting day for you?
I'd rather not be on camera.
Well, why are you going to a public protest then? I think you guys have a bad attitude.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, boss, how you doing today?
I'm all right.
Can you explain your sign to me? What does it mean?
This is the sign for the Democratic Socialists of America, and if you want to ask them about it, they are right over there.
Which ones?
Them guys right there with the roses.
Do you mind if I ask you one question about your answer? Why are you telling me to ask them? Like, you're the one carrying the sign. I just want to know what it means.
I appreciate that, but I'm familiar with Rebel Media. You can definitely speak to them. We have people who speak to the media. I'm not one of them.
All right, well, I'm sort of disappointed that you won't even tell me what your sign means.
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious, so...
Well, I was going to ask you a challenging question, which is, I think socialism and fascism both have an element of authoritarianism to it. Do you disagree?
I, once again, will direct you to the DSA to speak further. I have no need to speak to the media. I appreciate you, though.
This guy's a fascist.
I'm
What are you
aware.
talking about? That's very mean. You guys are mean.
We are intolerant of intolerance. That is true.
Does that mean that
So
you're
once
intolerant
again,
too?
Once again, I'll direct you over there. You guys have a wonderful time.
Thank you. I've never met such thin-skinned people in my life. It's really weird. How you doing? Who do you represent? I'm Ezra.
I represent the people. That's all.
And what's the symbol of the guillotine?
Well, it's a very powerful symbol, and I want to just make it clear that we are the people, and we are many, and they are few. We have all the power. I want people to know that they can make themselves heard, make their anger very clear, and no matter your all these different groups to have their differences, but now is the time to join hands and work to make this country a better place.
That's a very positive message.
Yeah.
The guillotine, though, the symbolism is very violent. How do you square the two?
I have a certain optimism. I'm not really calling for violence per se. I want people to wake up to the severity of the situation.
You look a little bit scary, though. I want to be very candid.
Yeah, the thing is, the people in power should be scared and treading lightly, again, because we have this power together.
Would you say your concerns are more economic, social justice, foreign affairs? Like what really gets you going?
My personal reasons for doing this, I have... there are communities that I deeply care for that are losing their rights. But I will say, the economic disparity in France in 1760 to 1790, when they were bringing the real thing out, we're in a worse spot in this country today. But we have, a few nice things. We have iPhones. We have just these little distractions that make us feel like everything's okay. But people aren't waking up to the wealth and resources that are kept above our heads. And are kept by those higher ups. Things could be a lot more fair.
So maybe there's a false class consciousness. People who are the proletariat think that they're maybe wealthy because...
Yes. They're you give the people bread and circuses, they won't revolt. People should be more aware of the disparity. It's great and it's tragic.
Did you make it, or did you get a friend to help? It was a big rig.
I had a hand.
Does it actually work?
In helping it.
Like
No,
that-
it doesn't.
Like that's not a sharp blade, but it looks like it could work.
It's foam, and there's no rails, so it doesn't move.
Okay.
I want it to be clear that this is
It's a
art.
piece of art, performance art, really.
It sure is, yeah.
All right.
And
Are you an artist yourself, or you had a friend maybe make this for you?
I think I can now say that I'm an artist. And I'm involved in art for sure.
I'm from Canada, actually, and
Right on.
the only other person I've ever met who's done blackface is Justin Trudeau.
So this is just around my eyes. This is, I wanted to. I don't want to have any really identifying information about me out there. I want it. It's not so that I can be anyone. It's more so anybody can be me.
Oh, okay.
This isn't about me.
Well, you look a little bit scary. That looks a little scary, but I found you quite gentle in our conversation, and thanks for talking with me.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for the interview.
Right on. Cheers. Well, I didn't expect that to be so friendly. In fact, I think he ended by saying, bless you, which I did not expect. Are you with the guillotine?
Mm-hmm.
And can I ask you what you mean?
It means we need to get together now. We need to all join together in this revolution, because if anything's going to change, we all need to get together.
Can I ask you what kind of things you'd like to change?
Mostly the wealth disparity. Outside, the top 1% have everything. BlackRock and Vanguard own everything. The people have nothing, and we need to take back what's ours. We made it, and we need to take it back.
I criticize BlackRock and Vanguard too. What are your criticisms of them?
That all these major companies you can think of, they own them. They own everything. They own our houses. They're the same people that sell you your cars, are the same people that sell you your insurance, are the same people that sell you your medicine, are the same people that sell you your houses, are the same people that sell you your food, are the same people that sell you your water. They have everything, and we have nothing, but it's ours. We need to take it back.
Thanks for talking with me. Can I ask you one last question? Because you mentioned drugs, and I'm guessing you have some views on health. I think it's a radical thing that Donald Trump appointed RFK Jr. to cabinet, because I don't know if you follow RFK Jr. He's been very skeptical of big pharma, very skeptical of industrial food, and I think he's a man of the left. Maybe not the far left, but he is radical in his own way. What do you think about the fact that he is Trump's nominee for Health and Human Services?
I'd say it surprises me. It's upset a lot of people. It's made a lot of people happy. I don't have any strict opinions on RFK Jr.
Okay, fair enough. Can I talk to you too a little bit? Are you with the team here? Sure. I see you're wearing the colors of the rainbow. Are you a gay activist?
I mean, I'm queer, so I'm here for the gay rights.
Can I ask you a question about that also? Because I was looking at some of the appointments that Donald Trump has made. His Treasury Secretary, Rick Grinnell, Tulsi Gabbard, some of his spokesmen, and there's a lot of LGBT appointments, even at the cabinet level. Trump hasn't talked about them as gay appointments. They just happen to be gay. He has a press release about them, but he never mentions their sexuality. And I think that's a very interesting approach, which is sort of, these are regular folks. I'm not even going to talk about their sexuality. They're just the best Treasury Secretary. Sorry, Tulsi's not gay. Sorry, I misspoke there. Rick Grinnell, Treasury Secretary. I think I erroneously said Tulsi. So what do you make of that? I mean, there's a lot of gay appointees. It's just that they're not sort of radical activists.
I mean, as far as one sexuality goes, I don't think it is vital information that in the political world for you to disclose that information. So personally, to me, it doesn't matter whether or not you appoint someone who's queer or trans and choose the person that you appoint, they choose whether or not they want that information disclosed. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't change my viewpoint of the people. To me, what's most important is the actual actions that people choose to take.
Are you surprised that Trump has appointed so many gay people to high office?
Honestly, I'm not. I personally believe that a lot of what goes on in the government is for show.
So, okay, but he hasn't emphasized that. You would think it was for show. He would be really talking about, look at all the gay people I appointed. So he hasn't actually done the show part. He's done the appointment part, but not the show part.
I'm saying that, if people are taking it to an extra level and they're trying to make a point of he chose to not disclose the information, or they chose to not or to disclose that information, I don't think that that's important to talk about. I think what's important to talk about is what people actually decide to do while they're in office.
Hey, what do you make of this? I mean, everyone here, that fella, you and your friend are pretty gentle. This is a pretty violent symbol. I mean, the whole point of a guillotine is to cut off someone's head, most likely with just a show trial. So you seem like a very gentle person. What are you doing standing next to a replica of a killing machine?
I mean, a lot of us also have a lot of righteous anger, I feel like.
What are you angry about? You're in the wealthiest, freest country in the world. You're on a beautiful day. You're surrounded with friends. What on earth are you angry about?
You say the wealthiest country? We are in...
Even the poor people in this country would be considered rich in most countries in the world. You are the luckiest generation in history. In the history of the world, in the history of our species, you are the luckiest. Why are you angry?
I'm angry because all of our wealth goes up to the top 1%. The wealth that you talk about is all controlled by
Even poor people in America are wealthier than rich people in most parts of Africa.
I mean, if you're talking about the poor people that have to spend like all of their time working and have absolutely no free time whatsoever, and they are wealthier than the people in Africa, I'm not saying that they aren't in that sense, but I am also saying that like we are a slave to our jobs, and like even as someone who like works multiple jobs to make rents and meet, I have basically no free time. And I think wealth is more than just money. I think wealth is also being able to have free time to actually explore the world and actually do things with the world.
You know, I got to tell you, sister, I'm a little bit older than you. And if being very angry about not having enough free time is the worst problem you got, you live a blessed life. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I hope your problems never get any worse than just not having enough free time. Nice to talk with you. To have enough free time, and really what free time I have, I just find myself wasting it on my phone. In a way, Joe Biden did everyone a favor by taking away TikTok. I'm not so sure if Donald Trump giving it back is the right thing. It is sort of amazing that the number one grievance she has in life is not enough free time. I'm not sure if the guillotine is the solution to that, but what do I know? How are you, brother? Maybe. I want to say hi to... Yeah, I wouldn't mind saying hi to Justine also. Can I look at your sign a little bit? Luigi says, deinstitutionalize violence, hands off the people, free Luigi, and all political prisoners, free me. But, I mean, he shot a guy. How is that a political prisoner? I wonder if she's ever thought of that before. Can I ask you a question about Lebanon?
Well, I'm just holding the flag, actually.
Oh, you know?
Don't know anything about it. You know, there's 30,000 people killed.
Yeah, I want to talk about peace in Lebanon, but is there someone else you point me to, or are you just holding the flag?
There was a ceasefire held, but Israel violated the ceasefire and it continued to bomb Lebanon after it was made.
One of the things that Trump gets some credit for is what was called the Abraham Accords. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Abraham Accords.
When he was president in his first term, he got a peace deal between Israel and the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain and Sudan. Did you hear about that?
No, but I heard about the United Arab Emirates and how they're funding this war and or they're fighting in Sudan and they're a military.
Do you mean Yemen or do you mean Sudan? Well, I guess what I want to ask is, I'm hopeful that maybe they would have Abraham Accords round 2 with Lebanon, and then maybe Lebanon could be part of a broader regional peace. Do you think that's possible?
I'm not informed enough to speak on that.
Can I ask why you're carrying the flag in the protest then?
Well, because the war with if you want to know, Hezbollah and Israel were in a conflict. We want to talk about the whole history.
Maxwell.
Here, yes, Carrington.
We got a march to attend.
Okay, we have
we
a
don't
march.
Have time for that.
All right, well, good luck, and hopefully peace will come.
Yes, to peace. Ceasefire now.
Okay, I think they did get that part. Hi, guys. What does Industrial Workers of the World mean? Is that a union or something?
Yeah, so we're a small grassroots union where we're trying to build a revolutionary union movement, one that goes beyond, maybe the more moderate unions in the country, one that can build, working class power and what we really tried to do, we're trying to organize by industry rather than by job role or, what your specific kind of trade is or where you really union.
Can I ask you a question about industrial workers for a second?
Sure.
I mean, one of the things Trump says is that he's for pipelines and drilling and stuff like that. And I think he's got some credibility when he says that because, that's sort of what he did in the private sector. What would you say to like a coal miner or a fracker or a steel mill guy or a pipe fitter who would say, ideology is one thing, but under Trump there's going to be actual industrial jobs. I mean, teaching is one thing, but like welders, stuff like that, like the Keystone XL pipeline, all those jobs. I think that pipeline's on hold now, but what do you think about Trump's reputation as an actual industrialist?
Well, I think that's mostly a front that he's putting up. This guy who hasn't actually worked a day in his life, start off with a $1 million loan or whatever from his dad. What we would say to folks like coal miners and that kind of thing is that, we're looking to build collective organization in their industries as well. And, we're looking to, we're not looking to leave them out in the cold. We're looking for a just ecological transition, where people can be retrained for, to work in different industries.
So you're saying the coal miners have to sort of over time stop being coal miners, is that what you're saying?
Well, over time, yeah, probably if we're going to keep the planet livable. What we would like to see is that the coal miners themselves would lead that transition. They would...
What would they do? Like, I've been to some of these...
In spite of what you think, people who work in extractive industries actually do know that they are working in extractive industries, okay? I have family who've worked in wood flooring. I have family who've worked in paper mills. Believe it or not, they know that what they're doing is very pollutive, right? And destructive to the environment. But that's where their skills are. So what the industrial workers of the world believes is that those who are working in those extractive industries should organize in those extractive industries. And when the time comes, they should take over those extractive industries and those public utilities, because it's those people who know how to transition in an environmentally safe way that would actually benefit working people who work in those extractive industries.
Okay, I appreciate you weighing in with such energy, but aren't you saying in just a longer way, they got to shut down coal mining?
I kind of feel like that's a disingenuous question.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, are you saying if someone's a coal miner today, can they be a coal miner in 20 years?
What I want you to keep in mind is that my family came up working in coal mines. I have newspaper clippings of family members being blown up in coal mines. My mom was born in a company town, like an actual company town. So
what does your mom think of it? Well, what is your
disingenuous question?
It's not a disingenuous question. I came here because this says industrial workers of the world, and so far, with all due respect,
we've tried to answer your questions, and you're clearly up here on some bullshit, basically.
Well,
so
you're education workers. You're not industrial workers, and you sound sort of angry at industrial workers. I'm trying to understand.
I don't know. I feel like you're kind of in the just asking questions situation.
I don't think you guys actually represent industrial workers, is all I'm saying.
Okay, cool.
I think you represent sort of white collar or pink collar workers, and I don't think you actually know any coal miners.
Janitors in schools.
I hope the people on ONN or whatever affiliate that y'all are associated with in the right-wing echo chamber use this as some kind of cannon fodder.
I just want to know if there's any industrial workers who actually share your anti-carbon point of view.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of people who work in extractive industries who are part of the industrial workers of the world, including people who have been involved in logging and offshore drilling for 20, 30 years. They actually formed something called the Environmental Unionist Caucus to organize people in those extractive industries and people who are working in other industries who want to make their industries more environmentally friendly.
Well, more environmentally friendly is something I think everyone would agree with because it feels like an easy thing to say, but this fellow was talking about transition, which I think means getting out of the industry altogether.
You guys have enough for your video clip.
Yeah, I think y'all have enough for your little hit piece. Why don't you step away, please?
It's not a hit piece. I wanted to
I've
understand.
asked you to step away. We're done talking to you.
I think you guys are very thin-skinned.
We're very thin-skinned.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm asking questions.
All right.
With no knowledge on
You keep
IWW,
shoving that
and then
microphone in
you're-
our place.
It's so far away from your face, I'm worried I won't even hear
Excuse
you.
me, I'm talking.
I'm trying to listen.
No, you weren't, because you were talking with him and interrupting me. So think about that. Actually, no, words have meaning.
Yeah.
You came up here with no knowledge, acting like you knew nothing about the IWW.
That's why I ask questions.
No, you talked in circles to try and ask about certain things. If you actually did your research, you would realize this organization's way older than just us at this table. It is a whole thing, hence international workers of the world. If you actually did your research before just
Industrial
trying...
workers.
Oh, sorry.
We're not trying to.
Pardon me?
What's the media outlet?
It's called Rebel News. I'm Ezra Levant. What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew, nice to meet you. You know what? I think some of these folks only like talking to people who agree with them, and they don't like talking to people who disagree with them. But if you're going to convince anyone of anything, you sometimes have to reach out to people who disagree with you.
Not really.
No, well then how are you ever going to convince someone?
Well, you already have your position. Are we going to convince you today? Are you here
It's always
anything that's gonna
possible.
convince you about-
Well, how do I know until I've heard it?
What's that?
How do I know what I'm going to be convinced by until I hear it? I mean, freedom of speech is Martin Luther King's, that was his main weapon. He didn't have any other power in society.
He had a
But
great deal of other power.
He had the power of ideas and the power of free speech.
Do you know when Martin Luther King was assassinated?
Was that a question? I don't know.
No, I'm just.
Do you know when
I'm-
Martin Luther King was assassinated, Ezra? What was he doing?
Yeah.
You maybe know this history?
Oh, yeah.
He was organizing sanitation workers in Memphis.
Is how you have an issue with just taking 3 steps.
Because I don't take orders from people wearing masks.
I don't have a mask on, and I would like you to leave. Everyone around
I would like
you
a pony.
you to leave.
I would like a pony.
That's cool. Leave.
Sorry, I just don't obey people. I'm more into the resistance movement than the obeying movement.
That's cool.
So Ezra, you're being really annoying to a lot of my friends.
I apologize. It's in my nature. It's part of my personality.
You're a journalist. I can tell you wouldn't come down here. This is probably not cold for you. But also,
Well, I've got some natural insulation, Chris.
So
I
me
got
too.
some meat on my bones.
I would really like you to leave, and so I'm gonna get more annoying. And I'm bad at harmonica.
You know what? I'll be the judge of that, Chris. You're actually better than me.
Oh, this is frozen.
Come on, Chris. Give us some music.
If I give you some music, will you walk away from this table where, for no reason other than the fact that we've asked you, we don't want you to be?
Well, if you play a song, I'll keep moving.
All right, that sounds like a
Can I make a request?
You can, but I'm not very good.
What's your name?
Don't fucking worry about it. Don't answer questions.
Money for people's needs, not the U.S. war machine. Well, you're in luck because Trump says he's going to end the war.
Really? Has he ever done anything that he's promised? No.
Well, he sort of.
That's nice.
I think he said he wanted the war in the Middle East to shut down by the time he took office, and it looked like it happened.
What war in the Middle East?
Well, the one between Israel and Hamas.
The one that just now got a ceasefire before he's taken office?
Yeah, and both sides said it was Trump who arranged it.
What both sides?
Both the Israeli side and the Hamas side.
What's your source?
Both of them said it in the media.
What media?
Every single report.
What report? Give me links, give me citations, give me sources.
Brother, I can't do your homework for you. I'm just saying Donald
What
Trump.
homework?
Donald
You're a
Trump.
fucking journalist. You should have all the goddamn facts. What sources? What
Oh,
media?
here we go. Here we go.
What websites? What blogs? Do you have documentation? Do you have literature?
Jesus was a Palestinian terrorist. You know that.
Well, I didn't know any of that.
He was a brigand. So, you know why they strung him up?
Well, because he was found guilty by the Sanhedrin of blasphemy.
That was. So you know your Bible better than me. But why did the Roman authority, the Sanhedrin was the sort of the Jewish religious authority, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was one aspect of his, he was rebelling against the, collaborationist Jewish authorities, the Sanhedrin, and the Roman imperial state. They strung him up as a bandit. Crucifixion was a thing that bandits had happened to them, and bandit could mean, thief. This is where the translation's a bit unclear, but it usually meant a rebel. So they crucified him to make an example of what he meant to the Roman state. So I guess I'm confused where Christians come here defending governments when the Messiah was martyred for essentially like resisting and being willing with his body to attack the instruments of the Roman commercial state. Turning over the tables was an act of like economic piracy. So, like, do you go to church? That's like a curiosity I have.
Not very often.
Okay.
All right, Chris. I mean, I think we could all do with a good Bible read.
I think we probably could.
Trump is an agent of capitalism in its worst form. And so I think we're out here protesting that. But more fundamentally, we're to build a movement against capitalism. Because as long as these rich people run this country, working people are never going to have justice.
Can I ask you why some unions endorse Trump, like the Teamsters, really positive about Trump? A lot of industrial unions are pretty positive about Trump. Why are they doing that?
Well, I think because the Democratic Party has failed a lot of unions in the last, 30 or 40 years. If you think back, 1947, when they passed the Taft-Hartley law, unions represented 40% of the working class in this country. Today, we represent 10% of the working class. A lot of that decline occurred in Democratic administrations. So a lot of people are fed up. Listen, the Democrats haven't done it. Maybe the Republicans will help us.
I mean, Trump talks about industry, talks about building and drilling, and like those are working class things. I mean, isn't he actually, even though the guy's a billionaire and he has sort of high fashion, but I think he's actually got a working class sensibility, blue collar sensibility. It's not just that the Democrats have failed. I think Trump actually gets working men. Do you think I'm wrong?
Yes, because where Trump has had businesses like in Las Vegas or Atlantic City, he's been very anti-union. He's refused to allow unions in. He's done everything he could to prevent them from coming in.
Can I interrupt you? But let's not talk about his just for a second, let's put aside his private business life. Let's talk about his tenure as president. Wasn't he a drill, baby drill, build, baby build? Like, wasn't he calling for so much industrial work? Wasn't he, if he had his way, wouldn't there be so many more high-paying jobs for working men? Like, put aside what he did as a real estate developer, just for a minute, because I want to talk about him being president. Isn't he a dream come true for any union man who likes to be a welder or an electrician or operating heavy equipment or something?
That's just not true. Industry in this country continued to decline during the Trump administration. It continued to decline.
The energy industry, for example, didn't it boom?
No, they did not.
Fracking?
Fracking grew, yes.
Well, that's a huge industry.
It's also destroying the environment.
Well, hang on. I thought you wanted prosperity.
We do want prosperity, not at the expense of working people. Look at Nazi Germany. They killed 6 million Jews, and then they had prosperity for those remaining alive as Germans. We don't want to go down that path.
I got one last question for you. I see you're wearing an amalgamated transit union hat. I take it you operate transit of some sort, is that right?
Yes, we operate transit in the District of Columbia, Northern Virginia, and Maryland.
So how can you be against fracking? Because that's oil and gas. And, don't your buses and trains use oil and gas?
Yes, but we're transferring to electric-powered buses and buses.
In this weather? In this kind of cold? Is there an electric bus that works in this kind of cold?
There are some, and the technology is developing, so there'll be more in the coming period of time. We want to invest in that technology to further develop electric buses, which then can be manufactured by American workers. Batteries can be built by American workers, because that's environmental safe. We don't want to go down the path of more fossil fuels. That's destroying the environment.
All due respect, you are using fossil fuels every single day of your life in your job, but you're mad at the frackers for making the fossil fuels. Has anyone ever called you a hypocrite for having those two positions? You want to crack down on oil and gas, but without it, you'd be out of a job.
We're in a process of transitioning. We're trying.
I got to use that line when my wife tells me to take out the trash. I'm in a process of transitioning. Ezra, take out the trash. Oh, I'm transitioning. Isn't that just a way of saying, I want a double standard that benefits me?
No, it's not. We know that the future of energy in this country is nuclear power.
Nuclear power buses would be amazing.
No, nuclear power generates electricity.
Are you pro-nuke?
Yes, I'm
glad. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I appreciate you talking with me, and I wish you good luck. Not too much good luck, but a little bit of good luck. There you have it. Bus drivers against gas. It's a very small club, but an elite one. We're in Washington, D.C. for the inauguration of Donald Trump for his second term. To follow all of our reports, including our interviews with people on the street, go to rebelnewsusa.com.